As part of the Kumu intermediate series of systems KeLE, I'd like to spend a few minutes and talk about the benefits of permalinks, specifically in conjunction with focusing elements on a map as opposed to using the already defined widget. The widgets are a shortcut method of doing something, and there are a number of them listed in the help documentation about how to embed videos or slide shares or lists within your map, so that rather than using the long form that contains the entire URL and the label and everything else, you can simply do YouTube / and the YouTube ID number, and that will embed your video in the profile page, as opposed to having to use the long form, which includes the entire URL. Now, there's another form of a widget that's used to focus an element within a map, and it's really handy when you're providing documentation or a description to someone, and they want to see where that particular element is in relation to all of the other ones. And it's typically coded this way. So suppose I simply say summary comes way after the Kumu manifesto. All right, so summary and Kumu manifesto, there's supposed to be 2 brackets on each end, are both labels for elements on this map. So once I code this, notice that it shows up with dotted underlines. And when I mouse over this, it focuses that particular element in the middle of the map. So if I'm writing a description of trying to describe the set of relationships in a map, by using the widget, I can go ahead and allow people to mouse over the individual elements that are part of the description and have them readily see where that piece fits in to what I'm describing. The difficulty arises because often if you're in a development stage and the labels are changing, and the labels of my content change on an ongoing basis. So if summary ended up being changed to summary something, doesn't matter what, just by changing the label somehow, when I go back to here, notice that Kumu manifesto works, but when I mouse over summary, it no longer works, because the label of this element is no longer what it was. And for a large map, once I break one, then I have to go look at, all right, where is that element? What did I change the label to? And so I can change the label here in the description. A shorter way, or a better way to do this for an environment that's constantly changing, is to use the permalinks as opposed to the widgets, which is coded this way. Every element on your map has a permalink. So if I go to summary, right down here there's a permalink, and if I do a right click and copy this address and then go back here and code this, there's only part of this permalink that I need. The first part of the permalink is the definition of the project. Notice that the username is not there, where up here in this link, it's got the username, the project name, the map name, and then the name of the element itself. So all of that's been replaced in a permalink by the internal reference labels for those things. So this is actually Kumu project 4046. And if I sent this URL to someone, it would take them to systems KeLE, even if I changed the name of the project. Well, this is the name of the element, or the internal permalink for the element. So if I delete all the rest of this stuff, and just use the form for a slug, which is equals pound, and then code it this way, notice that it focuses summary something. And if I go back now and change this back to, let me call it summary else, notice that when I go here, it still focuses it because it's using the internal permalink as opposed to the actual name of the element. And when this happens, I mouse over this and I notice that the name of this element has changed. So I can just go in here and change this to summary else, so that the part that's broke, where I notice that it's disconnected, it's not consistent any longer, I know exactly where to change it, as opposed to go looking for the element that's somewhere on the map that I changed the name of and don't remember what I changed the name of it to. I can fix it right here. And if I happen to go and change the label on the element again sometime in the future, things still work, which is why I have a preference for using the internal permalinks as opposed to using the actual labels. If you look at systems KeLE itself and go to the all modules, if you look at these, all the links in here, the URLs, are actually permalinks to other maps in the project, so that rather than use the actual name of that other map, it's the permalink for the map, so that even if I happen to change the name, getting back to Kumu Intermediate still works, even though the labels may have been changed. So hopefully you find this useful. This is in the, as I said, part of the Kumu Intermediate series in Systems KeLE. There'll be a link to this particular module in the notes section of the video. And this is the initial piece of info on permalinks themselves. So there's a video here that you can watch that provides a longer description about permalinks. And this is specifically about using permalinks to focus elements as part of a description, as opposed to using the focus widget, which continues to get me in trouble just because I'm always changing things. So hope you found this of interest, and you might want to drop by the systemswiki.org page and check out the webinars for this year. There are quite a few of them scheduled in the weeks to come on both Kumu and Insight Maker. So I'll see you shortly in another video, probably.